Hey everyone, welcome back or welcome to my YouTube channel if you're new around here. My name is Hannah Hawthorne and I am Simply Witched. I want to thank you all so much for all of your support on my last few YouTube videos. I feel like I'm really getting in the groove of being a YouTuber and I'm really enjoying creating weekly content. Today's video, as you can see by the title, is the Broom-Closet Witchcraft Survival Guide, and there's an interesting story of how this video came to be. Last week I posted a video on Instagram and TikTok just to highlight and poke fun at the struggles of being in the broom closet, and so many of you resonated with it. I'm gonna try to stitch the video in here in case you missed it.
Steven, what are you doing in there?
Drugs.
But it got me thinking, and so I posted on my story and I asked how many of you are in the broom closet, and I found out that over 50% of the people who watch my videos are practicing in secret. Even though witchcraft has become a lot less taboo in the past few years, I am not surprised by this at all because many witches, including myself, have spent a great deal of time in the broom closet. It kind of just comes with the gig. Because it is so common and it's something that many of us are dealing with or have dealt with, I thought it would be a good idea to make an all-encompassing video about getting through it. After I made that post on my Instagram story to find out how many of you were practicing in secret, I decided I would make this video, and I made another post to ask for questions that you had about this topic, and boy, did you deliver. You guys gave me so many good topics to talk about, so I wrote this video in a way that I can touch on all of them as we go through the video. There's a million reasons why you might be in the broom closet, but usually it's because witchcraft is not culturally or socially accepted. You might not have the support of your family and friends, and sometimes you might have the support of your family but you're not open with anyone else, or you might be open with everyone else but your family, and that is where it gets really messy. The first thing I want to talk about right at the beginning of this video is young witches, because often being in the broom closet and being young often go hand in hand, and I know that there's a lot of you watching who are kids and whose parents definitely do not want them practicing witchcraft, and I understand, I've been there. But there is something I want to make really clear, and I'm sorry that I even have to say this because I believe that your faith is entirely your own. No matter how old you are, your spiritual beliefs are valid. But if you are living in a household where it is unsafe to practice witchcraft, then don't. Just wait. If you are in one of those situations, just know that I'm really sorry, and this is something that a lot of members of the witchcraft community can relate to, and we understand how frustrating that is. Aside from parents keeping you in the broom closet, maybe you're just not ready to share your beliefs, and you don't have to. I know witchcraft might feel like it's everywhere right now, and everyone is posting every detail of their practice, and you might feel pressured to do that, but if you don't want to, don't. Before I started posting my practice online, I barely told anybody about my practice. It was really like 0 to 100 for me in that area, and it was really overwhelming. If you've never heard the story of why I started posting online or how, essentially I posted a TikTok and my second video went absolutely viral overnight, and I woke up in the morning and I had like 20,000 followers, and I was like, guess I'm out of the broom closet now. There are pros and cons to sharing your practice. When you keep it to yourself, it's like this very special thing that only you have. It's a safe haven to return to. I look back at that part of my life with a lot of fondness because it was such a formative part of my practice. And because of that, I do think it's important for you to spend at least a little time in the broom closet. It'll give you a really good foundation and a time to find yourself and your practice without all of the influences that come with sharing it. But there's definitely drawbacks to keeping your practice a secret. It always feels like you're hiding something because, well, you are, and you always have the fear that you're going to get caught. Someone could walk in while you're doing a spell, or you could leave something behind, and it's draining to hide such a big aspect of who you are. But I think the worst of it, honestly, is just the fact that it's lonely. Not having community is awful, and it's the ultimate reason I decided I decided to share my practice. Sharing your practice comes with its own challenges, and we will get into those soon. Starting with the kind of magic that you can do, candles are very inconspicuous. You might not be able to dress them with herbs or carve sigils into them, but you can choose them based on their color and scent correspondences, and no one will know. You can also do this with a wax burner, or similarly but not the same, I recommend getting an essential oil diffuser to bring in the type of energy you want to your space. Kitchen magic is going to be your best friend, and lucky for you, you have come to the right place. I'm doing an entire series about this subject called The Witch in Kitchen, so if you haven't checked it out, go do that. So I'm not going to spend too much time here because those videos are so in-depth, but if you're not familiar with the practice, kitchen magic is the act of weaving magic into the food and drink that you prepare. In the same vein as kitchen witchcraft, you can also do a simmer pot. A simmer pot is a large pot of water and fragrant ingredients left to simmer on the stove. These are not inherently witchy, but they have made their way into magical spaces because they are so versatile. I love doing them because they're a great way to cleanse and draw in new energy, and they smell divine. Physically cleaning your space is a great way to spiritually cleanse, so all of your cleaning products can be used in your magical practice. Find a scent that you enjoy and look into its magical correspondences. My entire house smells like pine because I buy all of my cleaning supplies in pine. It's great for protection, prosperity, and purification. There's a lot of discreet witchcraft to be done when you are buying mundane products like cleaning supplies when you know their magical properties. And before I buy any product, I look at its color, its scent, its flavoring, and think about how I can use that in my magical practice. And that is a theme you will see a lot on this list. I'd even bet that you can make your own cleaning supplies without anyone getting suspicious. You can make a floor wash or a room spray and no one would ask any questions. Another easy way to cleanse is through sound, and there's a variety of different ways that you could do this. You could play your favorite music and let it fill the space, or I like to look up nature noises, whether that be waves crashing or rain, and just let everything wash away. Washing your laundry is a great way to weave magic into the clothing you wear. The washing cycle can be used to cleanse away any unwanted energy from the last time you wore them, and while the clothes are drying, you can charge them for protection for the next time you wear them out. I like to do this by either using a dryer sheet that is a scent that is great for protection, pine for example, or you could also get those dryer balls and put some dabs of essential oil in there. Anything that you are wearing or anything that contributes to your physical appearance is called glamour magic, and I'd like to do a video on this because it is so versatile. Usually it's done with your makeup, skincare, hair, or clothing, but let me give you a few examples. You can enchant your lipstick to boost your communication skills. Dye your head green. Head green? What? Head green. No. Okay, take two. Dye your hair red for self-love. Charge and charm your jewelry for protection, or wear green to draw in prosperity. Similarly, you can practice bath and shower magic. Get a shampoo and conditioner in a scent that resonates with your practice, and honestly, you could easily take a ritual bath because the items required are very common amongst regular people, are not suspicious at all. Candles, herbal blends, Epsom salts, all great options. If you've never tried art magic, I recommend giving it a go. Even if you're not the most quote-unquote artistic, it doesn't matter. If you pick up painting or drawing, there is so much you can do with that in your magical practice. You could paint magical paintings and hang them around your room or your house, each symbolizing a different energy, whether they're wards or protection or to draw in prosperity. You can also implement color magic, where each color signifies a different energy you want to draw into the painting. If you're using watercolor paint, you can do that with moon or sun water for extra added significance. In the same vein, another artistic form of magic is sigil witchery. I plan to do an entire video about sigils, so if that's something you would like to see, please let me know. But when you're in the broom closet, they are really helpful because they're low-key and you can put them on anything. If you want to put them on your body, I recommend getting an eyeliner pencil. You can draw it on your skin and easily wash it off. You can stir them into food or drink, write them on pieces of paper. Really, the options are limitless. All of the tips that I've given so so far all required materials, physical tools, and while these are nice and they can help us direct our energy, they are not the most important thing. And this is why I think being in the broom closet gives you a good foundation, because ultimately you are going to be focused on internal work. Spend time in meditation. Learn how to ground and center yourself. Focus on visualization or heightening your natural psychic abilities. Practice positive self-talk, affirmations, do shadow work, and spend time outside. Immerse yourself in nature and get to know your local flora and fauna. And if possible, bring a little bit of that inside with you by getting a plant or two. Many practitioners will have what is called a grimoire, or a book of shadows depending on your tradition, which is essentially a journal to document your magical journey. And I do think this is an important tool for anyone to have. And I plan on making an entire video about this subject as well, but I do know how difficult it is to have something physical while you're in the broom closet. And in that case, I recommend digitalizing your practice and keeping your records somewhere online. You can use the Notes app on your phone or Canva, and I'm sure that there's a lot of other free websites that you could use as well. So if anyone knows of any, please leave them down below. But it's also nice because when you can have a physical book, you'll have all of your information written and you can just transfer it over. We are so lucky in 2022 because there are so many great resources for digitalizing your practice, and it's definitely an advantage we have today that we did not have in the past. I have made a list of my favorite witchy apps and digital resources that I would like to share with you. So in no particular order, the first two that I want to talk about are The Moon and My Moon Phase. These are both moon apps, and you can look at the lunar cycle at a glance. You can see what sign it's in, what phase it's in, and it'll also tell you when the celestial bodies rise and set each day. Next, we have Seek and Picture This. These apps work to identify local plants and animals when you take a photo of them, and I find it's very helpful when you're beginning to work with local land spirits. Next, I have to recommend my own personal Discord. If you are not a member of the Discord, what are you doing? We have so much fun over here, and if you're not familiar with this platform, this is essentially a chat room. We have a lot of different channels, as you can see, to talk about different topics. We have magical and mundane, and it's just a great place to meet like-minded individuals. Finding community online is my biggest tip for any broom-closeted witch because it is so important to have support. And even when you're out of the broom closet, I can't talk about witchcraft with my friends and family the same way that I can with people who are practitioners, because even though they support me, it's hard to express how passionate I am because I know that they don't understand, and that's not their fault. But that's why having witchy friends is unparalleled. If you're worried about using your own personal profile for this, I recommend creating a second witchy profile. That way you can get yourself into magical spaces and post about your practice without the fear of being judged by others. The last digital resource I want to talk about is Scribed. Now this is something I don't shut up about, so you've probably heard this before. But in case you don't know, Scribed is a book subscription service. It's like $10 a month, and you get access to so many occult books. It's not specifically an occult book site, there's tons of other stuff on here, but I am always impressed with their library of witchcraft books. Also, if you haven't noticed, every book that I pick for book club is off of Scribed because I want it to be as accessible as possible. And I know that, like I said, while you're in the broom closet, having physical items, especially books, is hard, and this defeats that. Another way to get your hands on some occult books is to check them out from your local library. You don't have to buy physical copies of them, and you'll be supporting your local community. I know we all want to have a big, beautiful altar, and I've been struggling with that as well because once we moved, I had to downsize quite a lot. And so a lot of my stuff is in storage, and to counteract that, something that I found myself doing a lot so I don't miss having a lot of physical items, is I'm using things that disappear after I use them. So I've been practicing a lot of kitchen magic, for example. The ingredients, once they have been eaten, they disappear. Herbs disappear, candles disappear once they burn them. Things like that are a lot easier to have when you're in the broom closet rather than having tools that are just going to be there. Another thing to consider is you can probably have a lot of your tools, candles, crystals aren't even that strange to have, But don't set it up like an altar. Like, I would put these items around your room rather than putting them ritually in a small area that screams altar. You know? Maybe you'll have some crystals on the windowsill and some candles by your bed, and that pretty vase that's on the shelf, it's actually for moon water, but no one will know. Though if you would like to keep all of your tools together, I see a lot of people recommending a travel altar. This is essentially an altar in a box that you pull out to do your working and then put away when you are not using it. But my recommendation is keep your altar in a drawer. You open it, you do your working, you close it, and no one knows it's there. I know many people won't be able to have divination tools such as tarot decks or pendulums. So for a tarot deck, you can read a deck of playing cards just the same, and there's a lot of resources on that online. And for a pendulum, you could use any old necklace, or my personal favorite, a thread and needle. This would also be a good time to talk about offerings, since an altar is typically where you would leave that. Now, if you don't have a permanent altar, that'll pose a question: where do you leave your offerings? So I'd like to remind you that offerings can be physical acts of service. Let me give you an example. Typical offerings for an ancestor might be a hot serving of food, alcohol, or tobacco, but you could also sing to them, dance, or play them a song. If you work with any deities, you could do offerings specific to them. If you work with Aphrodite, you could go pick up trash on the beach. The last thing I want to talk about is coming out of the broom closet and beginning to share your practice, which is the next major part of this. Lucky for you, this is the best time to be practicing witchcraft. I often hear people complain that witchcraft is becoming a trend, or people are doing it for the aesthetic or things like that. And I have absolutely no problem with that, because we are making leaps and bounds. I really believe that a global change feels like it's happening because people are finally being opened up to each other's beliefs, something that I credit the internet and specifically TikTok right now for. But unfortunately, that doesn't mean that opening up about your practice is easy, and you will still face judgment and misunderstanding from others. When I came out of the broom closet, I got a lot of questions from my family and friends who didn't understand. And there's a very fine line between wanting to explain to them, but also feeling forced that I had to alleviate their pain. Not pain, their fears. Their pain. Feeling like I had to alleviate their fears, which was not my responsibility. I know this is gonna sound a little bit harsh, but I wanna say that if someone doesn't accept your beliefs, then they probably never will, and they don't matter, because your beliefs are not theirs to accept. I used to think that if people accepted my beliefs, that it was radical. Like, wow, I can't believe they did such an amazing thing for me. But really, it's the bare minimum, and the bar is on the floor. So if you ever feel like you are getting less than from the people who are supposed to support and love you, remember that. But I don't want to end that on a negative note, because more often than not, you will be surprised by the amount of people who will sit down and listen to you. If you're contemplating coming out of the broom closet, I have some questions that I've written that you can ask yourself in order to decide. 1, why do you want to come out? 2, are you ready to take that step? 3, are you confident and proud of your decision? 4, and this is a big one for those of you that came from a different faith and have religious trauma like I do, have you healed and let go of the guilt from changing your beliefs? I know. 5, are you ready to deal with ignorant people? And 6, will the stereotypes/misconceptions bother you? I'm going to put those questions in the description so you can write them down and reflect on them, really mull them over. And if you are ready to exit the broom closet, I recommend taking baby steps and maybe even doing some divination to see when would be a good time to do that. Maybe don't post your face in a witchcraft video on TikTok if you have never told anyone that you practice witchcraft. But like, I don't know, that could just be like a personal weird thing that happened to me. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, please like, subscribe, and turn on the bell notification. Next week, I will be posting my book review of the book that we are reading this month, which is The Horned God of the Witches, so be on the lookout for that. If you have any recommendations from videos that you would like to see from me, please leave them down below. And until next time, have a magical rest of your day. Blessed be, and bye everyone.